moment with my height. This allows me to drop my knees down rather than if I'm sitting right on top, my knees poke up. So feel free to give that a go today. So welcome everybody. My name's Sarah. I'm your Thursday yoga instructor. We are here for 45 to 50 minutes of moving, breathing, strengthening, stretching, and just having a break in our day. So we're starting today sitting on a little bit at the edge of the height or a comfortable seated position. You can take those hands, drop them down to the thighs. And just take a moment to feel your sit bone connect with your prop or the ground. Feeling it get nice and heavy and solid. And then from that solid sit bone, that solid connection with the ground, feel your spine begin to grow up toward the ceiling, nice and tall, reaching high. Your neck and your head set nicely on top. And then you can allow those eyes to close or bring your gaze softly to the floor. And feel those hands on your legs get heavy. Feel your forearms and elbows get heavy as they pull your shoulders down. And then take a moment here in this solid seat to just scan your body, starting at the top of your head, moving down, and just checking in. Is there any areas that are itching to move? Are there any areas that are stiff and sore or have tension? Are there any areas of healing you want to treat with compassion and kindness today? What does your body want you to know? And bring your attention to your breath and notice where you feel it moving. Perhaps an expansion in your chest or your belly. Perhaps you can feel your breath in your ribs or your back. And gradually begin to deepen the breath a little bit longer. And then allow that exhale to be just as long. Perhaps taking a few breath cycles to really change the difference of the pace of the breath. And this breath shift just lets our body know that we're changing our day right now. We're moving from the outside world, the work world, the school world, into our own world, our own internal place. On your next exhale, you can drop your chin to your chest, opening at the back of your neck. Feeling that stretch, that sensation. And perhaps you want to take your hands and reach them around back as well, reaching for those fingers. Perhaps interlacing the fingers and bringing the palms together if that's open to you. And I want you to pull those arms back and down toward the ground. And this is moving our bodies the opposite direction than they've been at the computer all morning. So just give yourself a little time to open up. It doesn't have to be a super deep movement. That will come in time. Just feel that motion down and back. And release those hands, bring them back to your lap. You can bring your head up to center and then reach those arms out wide, bringing them up toward the ceiling. Reaching those fingers high, gaze can come up toward the fingers. So you feel the stretch in the front of the neck and alongside the side body. Really reach those fingers high. Continue to feel that breath. And then let's bring those hands together and bring them down to heart center. Tuck your chin. And just take a moment to connect with your why. Why did you come to class today? To connect with yourself, to stretch, to work on your health. Just reconnect with that reason you're here. Then you can reach those hands down to the lap again and bring left ear to left shoulder. Let that left shoulder get heavy. And perhaps you want to reach that right arm out to the side, making a diagonal line. Maybe walking those fingers out. And if it's floating above the floor, that's all right too. And then notice if you tuck your chin towards your chest, just slow. Does that change the stretch in your neck? If you like that, stay there. And if you're like, I don't like that stretch, feel free to move that chin back toward the front of the room. Welcome to all the new people that have come in. Feel free to join us where you are. Let's bring the hand back to lap, head back to center, and then right ear to right shoulder. Let that right shoulder get heavy, elbow gets heavy. And then reach the left arm off to the side, maybe walking those fingers out. Feeling the sensation in the neck. And then begin to tuck that chin over to your shoulder, nice and slow. Observing the change of stretch in your neck. And we'll bring the hand back to the lap, head back to center. We're going to reach those legs out long, give them a little shake. And then let's bring them back in, crossing the opposite direction, just for a moment. And bring those arms up to cactus arms. We're going to bring those arms together, right elbow crosses on top of left elbow. You can bring those arms back to back, elbow up, shoulder height. And if you choose, you can bring the right hand in the front and maybe wrap it around the left. This is eagle arms. This can take does take quite a bit of flexibility. So if this is tough, just keep pressing those arms back to back. And that's going to build the same area. And then experiment with moving those elbows slightly up, noticing how that changes the stretch in the shoulders and the upper back. And then exhale, release those arms down. Let's make big circles with those shoulders moving back. Really bring them up to the ears, around the back and down. Max range of movement here. And then let's bring those arms back up to cactus. And this time, we're going to bring them together and bring the left arm over top of the right. Bring those arms back to back. And if you choose, the left arm can come into the front and then wrap around the bottom arm. Wherever you are, think about squeezing those arms together. And experiment with raising and lowering the elbows to find the stretch that works for you today. Typically, you want to find that place in the middle. The green zone feels like every day. The red zone is sharp shooting pain. We want to stay away from that. And the yellow zone is the Goldilocks place in the middle. We feel the stretch, but you can still breathe through it. Then release the arms, bringing them down. Let's roll those shoulders forward. Nice and big. And one way with your shoulder rolls might be more hard. My forward one is a little bit more jittery. And if you're on some height, feel free to move it aside. We're going to come into a tabletop position. Spreading those fingers nice and wide. Keeping your wrists and shoulders on top of each other, knees and hips on top of each other. I want you to think about bringing your belly button close to your spine. Embracing that core. And as you exhale, begin to drop your belly down and raise your sit bones up. Bring your shoulders just through your shoulders and your gaze comes up. Embracing the cow position. Feel that breath move. Begin to press the heads into the floor. Raise your spine up like a cat on Halloween. Arching that back. Tuck your hips in and release your neck and head, finding that inner cat. And then as you exhale, begin to raise the sit bones, drop the belly. Chest comes through the shoulders, gaze comes up. Finding your cow. Feeling your breath. And then exhale, begin to move your spine, embracing your inner cat. So really thinking about lifting the spine up and relaxing the head and neck. Coming back to a neutral tabletop. You're going to take your right leg and bring it out to the side, planting the foot on the ground. Left hand, maybe it comes out a little bit further in front of you. Spread those fingers and then sweep the right arm, the one toward the leg, up toward the sky. Doing a nice side twist. Gaze can follow the hand if that feels good. Just feel that breath. I inhale, I'm aware of my body. I exhale, I calm my body. Then exhale, let's come down. Walk those hands back towards you to help you come up on the shin and the leg. You're going to reach the right hand down the leg, left hand comes nice and tall, reaching high, and then exhale, side bend over your leg. Keeping the chest forward, we're really working on this left side. From the hip or on the torso, don't have to go far. Just till you feel the sensation change. Now we're going to come up, spread the fingers. The hand's going to come down in line with the leg, pressing into the ground, get a solid connection. Flex this foot and bring up the leg, finding a side plank. And if you're playing patty cake with floor, just keep trying to lift the leg a little bit. Yoga is a really long journey, and you're going to notice these changes slowly over months happen. So today it can be really hard to keep that leg up, but a few months from now in December, you might be like, hey, look at my leg. And then slowly let's come back up. We're going to come back to that tabletop. We're going to reach out the left foot to the other side. Right hand connects to the ground, spreading the fingers. And then sweep that left arm towards your outstretched leg, coming up into a twist. So your side body is facing the side of the room. If you've been building your flexibility, maybe you're twisted toward the ceiling. But we have about 11, 12 different bodies today, and if we were all in the same room, we would all look slightly different. And that's what we want, because yoga is a practice of sensation. You're moving until you feel that stretch in a good way. Then exhale, we're going to come down. Walk those hands towards your body, come up to gate. Reach your hand along the left leg. Right arm comes up nice and long, reaching high. And then exhale, side bend. And check in with your breath here. If it's become really hard to breathe, really shallow and jumpy, I want you to come out of the bend a little bit. And if you're like, I feel like I could be sitting just watching TV, then I want you to try and push yourself a little bit more. So you're your best stretch. Let's come on up nice and high. Spread the fingers wide as you bring that hand down in line with your knee, feeling the connection of the ground. Flex this back foot as you raise up the leg and bring the weight into your shin and your arm. And if you want, you can raise that other arm. So again, if you're playing patty cake, if you're playing with the ground, just continually try and raise that leg as much as you can. Embrace where you are today. This is where you are meant to be. You're moving your body, you're strengthening your body. And that's going to look different for everybody. Bring that leg down, come on up to gate. We're going to come back to tabletop. We're going to take some wrist circles. So moving over your palm in a circle. You're moving your whole body, making circles over the wrist, feeling the path over the knuckles and the palm circle. I also like to move my butt back a little bit to stretch out my arms. Then we're going to pause and move the other way. And just embrace this movement. What do you notice? Is there any places you want to stay and hang out? Is there any places you want to quickly move through? Then we're going to come back to tabletop. You're welcome to stay here, or you can tuck those back toes, push the front of the mat away and move your sit bones towards your heels. Continue to push yourself up to down dog. This is the first one, so really bend your knees a lot. And push the mat forward to straighten your arms. Maybe you want to bend one knee and then the other to warm up those legs. Don't know about you guys, but after sitting at my computer all morning, my legs are a little stiff. I'm feeling this. And after you walk those legs out a bit, you can come to stillness. And you can still really bend those knees. By bending the knees, you're allowing your back and your arms to stretch out. And then inhale, let's look forward and baby step those feet to the front of the mat. Bending the knees, connecting belly button to thigh. Let's hang the head. And then if you feel you have room to grow, I want you to think about lifting your hips. And just notice the difference that makes if you think about lifting the hips. Knees can still be bent. Mine are always bent in this pose, but I can really feel it if I think about really bending and then moving from the hip height. Feel your feet connect with the ground. And then slowly let's come up, curling the spine. One vertebra at a time. We're coming all the way to standing. Nice and tall at the front of the mat. Maybe you're rolling those shoulders back. Inhale, reach those hands high, stretching long. Maybe you want to add a little back bend. So bringing the hips forward, or maybe leaning back just a little bit. It could be a millimeter. Just seeing if you can bring your back the other way. Pausing here. And then exhale, come up to straight. Bend the knees, hinge at the hips, and let's forward fold all the way down. Plant the hands beside the foot and step back with the left foot nice and long, finding your lunge. Dropping the back knee. Let's come on up into our low lunge. Beautiful. Today, if you're feeling stable, you can reach those hands behind your back, maybe grabbing the fingers or interlacing the knuckles like we did at the beginning of class. And you're going to draw those hands up and down. Sorry, down and back. There you go. That works a little bit more. An option, if you choose, would be to add a little bit of a back bend as well. I'm giving many options. So if you're choosing to stay in lunge, that is using your best judgment for what's working for you today. Sinking into the front leg. Feeling that breath. If you're on the back bend, you're going to come up to straight. You can release the hands. We're going to bring them on the side of the feet. Left hand comes out to the corner, spreading those hands. Let's twist up toward the right, toward that leg. Reaching high. Option to tuck the back toes and raise the back leg if that feels good. Really stretching out that hip flexor. Connecting with your breath. And then we're going to bring the hand down, hands on either side of the foot. Really connect with the back foot, and however you can, we're going to step back to plank from the toes or plank from the knees. Yogi's choice. Connect belly button to spine, strong core. Keep those elbows in. Let's slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck those toes. Hands walk off to the sides. Tent those fingers like spiders. Inhale and exhale. Let's raise our chest and head off the mat. You're really reaching with the spine, but also having some pressure in the fingers. Feel that deep breath move the belly into the mat. Exhale, let's come on down. Bring the hands beside the chest. Really feel the knees and the feet connect into the ground. And then push into the hands and the knees. And come on up to plank on the knees. That might be a little shaky. And then come back to tabletop. Or tuck the toes and come into down dog. Just for a minute. Yogi's choice on if you want down dog or tabletop. We're going to look forward. And this time we're going to step the right foot all the way to the front of the mat. Drop the back knee. It's not the same one I did. That was. Make sure it's your different one. I'm going to go left and drop my right knee. So we're doing the opposite side. Hardest part of being a yoga teacher, people. All right, let's find the lunge. Find your balance. You're sinking into front leg. Option to stay here, or option to reach those hands around back, grabbing the fingers or interlacing the fingers, and reaching those arms down and back, finding your breath. And if you choose or not, you can add the back bend, reaching the chest forward and up. Wherever you are, I want you to connect with that breath. Inhaling deep. Exhaling long. Here in the back bend, you can come up. Release those hands, bring them down beside the foot. Walking the right arm out to the side. We're going to twist toward our thigh with that left hand. And feeling free to experiment with that hand that's down if you wanted it out wider or a little off the side. And options, tuck the toe, raise the knee. Wherever you are, inhaling deep. Exhaling long. Let's bring those hands down beside our feet. Really spread the fingers, connect the fingers, tuck those back toes. And you can step back to plank from the knees or plank from the toes. Think belly button to spine. Keep the elbows in. And let's slowly lower all the way down to our bellies. You guys got this. Walking the fingers off the mat. Tent the fingers like spiders. Inhale deep. Exhale, lift the chest and the head. Extending with the spine. Pressure into the fingers. Feel that breath move your belly into the mat. Exhale, we're going to come all the way down. Bring your hands beside your chest. Feel the toes tuck and the knees pressing into the ground. And it might be shaky. Try your best. Let's push up to plank from the knees. However shaky that is, however it takes you. Give yourself a pat on the back for that. We're going to walk back to tabletop. We're going to bring the knees out wide, big toes together. Bring your sit bones back. Walk your hands out long, coming into a child's pose. Now, if this doesn't feel good for you because of your knees, I'm just going to show briefly. You can do child's pose on your back as well. Just by holding onto your ankles, feet together, knees out wide. So sometimes that can feel a lot less pressureful. And wherever you are in this child's pose, think, I inhale, I'm aware of my body, all the sensations. I exhale, I calm my body, even if that takes a little bit of practice. So however you are in child's pose, we're slowly going to come on up to tabletop. We're going to bring the left foot forward, the right foot forward, finding your forward fold. Feel your feet connect with the ground, press into the ground. Then we're slowly going to wind all the way up, nice and tall. Connecting with that breath. Today we're going to take our feet hip width apart. Inhale and exhale, sit back into that chair. So you're reaching those hands long. And just for fun, I want you to look down at your knees and see if they're falling in. And if they are, see if you can embrace those inner thigh muscles and bring your knees out so they're parallel to each other. And just notice how that feels in your leg muscles. Connect with that breath. Then exhale, it's forward fold. Plant the hands. We're going to step back with the left foot nice and long. Turn the toes out to the side of the room on the back foot. Bend the front knee. We're going to cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. So if you're new to yoga, you're just getting started, feel free to look at your screen, figure out where we are from here. So with the front knee bent and the back leg straight, sometimes all the weight can feel like it's in the front. If you're feeling that, I want you to push into the back leg and get it to help a little bit too. So you feel equal weight in your legs. And once you're feeling that, you're really going to extend those arms nice and long, and your gaze can come over the front hand. Strong warrior. You got this. You came to practice today. Your legs may be shaken, but I know you got this. And then exhale, straighten the front leg. Whew, take a little bit of a break there. We're going to begin to reach out in front. Reach, 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 as far as you can. And when you can't reach anymore and that back hip is popped, bring your front arm down to your leg. So it might be holding on to your shin or your thigh. And then you can keep tilting over and bring that upper arm up nice and high into your triangle. So our goal isn't to touch the floor here. Our goal is to stretch out nice and long and then be light as that arm reaches. The gaze can be to the side, to the ceiling. I inhale, I'm aware of my body. I exhale, I calm my body. You can begin to bend the front knee, use your core, and let's come on up to warrior two. Taking a moment here. Then we're going to cartwheel our hands down to the mat. Step in that back foot about halfway. Walk your fingers out so they're tented, maybe about 6 inches in front of your front foot. Flex the back leg and begin to lift it up. Option number 1 is to stay here. Option number 2, if you'd like, would be to bring the arms up and out to the side. If you have room in your house, I have to do a little cactus here, like an airplane. And option number 3 is to extend those arms nice and long in front. Now, if you fall out of warrior 3 of airplane, just smile, laugh, whew, bring down your hands, and then try and see if you can get back in. Balancing poses are all about fun. And then wherever you are, let's bring those hands down. Step the back foot to meet the front. Bend the knees, forward fold. Feel the difference between your standing leg and your raised leg. One might be burning a little bit more. Feel your feet push into the ground, and let's roll on up nice and slow. Rolling the shoulders back, standing tall. Connecting with your breath. And perhaps noticing how your breath has changed since the start of class. Is it quicker? Is it slower? Is it deeper? Or perhaps shallower? No judgment, just curiosity in how today's movement is affecting your body. All right, let's step those feet hip width apart. Inhale deep and exhale, sit back into your chair. Reach in long. Look down, check in with those knees, and if they're falling together, use those inner thigh muscles to bring them apart so they're parallel. Really feel that connection of the thighs. And they can be shaking. Shaking means you're building muscle. And then exhale, forward fold. Plant the hands on the mat, step back with the right foot, nice and long, and turn those toes to face the side of the room. Bend the front knee, and let's cartwheel those arms up to warrior two on the other side. So checking in with the feet. All the weight is feeling like it's dumping forward, push into the back foot a little bit, help it out, spread the weight. See if you can get both legs to help out with the work today. And once you're happy with the legs, you can reach those arms out nice and long and bring your gaze over the front hand. Being a strong warrior, so maybe thinking of something today that you want a little bit of strength in personal life. Embrace that. Be strong. You got this. And then let's straighten the front leg for a little break. Whew. Feel that breath. Then begin to reach forward, popping out the back hip. Reach, reach, reach. And when you can't reach anymore, you're going to bring that bottom leg down to your leg for balance. And then continue to come on over, lifting that top arm. And if it's these are balancy poses, these triangles. So if you're a little wobbly, feeling free to adjust the legs. I inhale, I'm aware of my body. I exhale, I calm my body. Let's bend the front knee. Come on up to warrior two. Touch the pose, find the pose. And then let's cartwheel the arms down to the mat. Stepping the back foot in, foot halfway, maybe adjusting yourself in your space depending where your walls are. Walk your hands out about 6 inches in front of you, tent those fingers. Flex the back foot and begin to lift it off the mat. Option number 1. And if you're playing patty cake, again, just like the other move, just keep playing with lifting that foot. Then option to bring the hands out to the side. Again, you can totally play patty cake with the arms on the ground. Or bring those arms forward. Wherever you in warrior 3, right now I want you to smile and say, I rock. I'm moving my body on my lunch break. And then let's bring those hands to the mat. Back foot matches the front. Bend the knees, forward fold. Maybe you want to think about lifting those hips high. And then push into the feet. We're slowly going to roll on up, nice and tall. Feeling the breath, checking in. And we're going to open those eyes. We're going to move those feet about mouth width apart. Feel the left foot get heavy, right foot gets light. You're going to begin to feel the right foot come up on the toes. Spin the knee and the hip out and bring the toes in. So you can put the ankle just above, the heel just above the ankle. Option 1 for tree pose. Feel your belly button connect with your spine. Option number 2 is to bring the foot to the shin, calf, sorry. And option number 3 would to bring it to the thigh. Hands can come to heart center. And before you begin to move your arms, think of your standing foot and think, can I press down through my big toe and my pinky toe so my whole foot is on the ground? And then if you choose, you can begin to move those arms up. It's okay if you're a windy shoe today. Maybe you want to use a wall or a chair for balance. And if you're feeling really solid, maybe close your eyes. It's amazing how much our eyesight helps with balance. That's always a cool experiment. Feel your breath. Feel a solid connection in your foot as it roots down. And that reach as your arm reaches up. And then slowly, let's bring those hands together, bring the arms down, getting out as part of the pose. Release the foot. Maybe shake that out a little bit. And the nice thing about yoga is what you do on one side, you do on the other, so you always get to do it again. So feel the right foot get light, left foot gets heavy. Right foot gets heavy, left foot gets light. Other side. So heel can press above the ankle. You can bring that foot into the calf or into the thigh. Think belly button to spine to solidify that core nice and strong. Hands together. Check in with that standing foot. See if you can get your big toe and your pinky toe mound connecting with the ground at the same time. And if you're feeling solid, you can grow those branches. Nice and high. I inhale, I'm aware of my body. I exhale, I calm my body. Feeling free to smile. And let's slowly bring those hands together. Bring them down through your heart center. I love how you're getting out of the pose nice and slow. Release the foot. Bring it down to the mat. And let's shake that out. All right. I'm going to bring the feet together. We're balancing going down, so always remember to be safe first. Use a chair or put your hands down when you need. So let's bring the hands out in front of us, nice and long. We're going to come up on our toe mounds, balls of our feet. Maybe you want to bring your feet a little bit wider. And then slowly, just for fun, to get down to the mat, we're going to slowly bend the knees and come down while staying on the balls of the toes. And once you can't go anymore, any lower, you're going to stay there and play with your balance. Feel that breath. All this balance work is preparing us for the slippery sidewalks that are on their way. And let's bring the hands down to the mat, and we're going to sit on our sit bones, coming down. You're going to bring the hands behind the hips. Fingers are pointed towards your body, and your feet are going to come about mat width apart. So you're going to feel your hands connect to the ground, your feet connect to the ground. You're going to push into the hands and feet and raise your butt just a little bit. And if it feels good, use your butt muscles to begin to raise the hips. So you're really pushing your hands and feet into the ground, using your butt muscles to raise the hips. Then slowly lower all the way back down. And continue to walk back on your forearms as you come down to the mat. Maybe take a moment to play around here. Lengthen your spine and your neck. You're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees out wide, making a little diamond shape. And your hands can come onto your belly. Pick your favorite color of balloon, place it in your belly. And with your next deep breath, blow up the balloon in your belly. Feel that balloon grow with your hands. And as you exhale, slowly feel that balloon deflate. Let's try that again. Inhale, grow your balloon. Feel that growth with your hands. And then exhale, allow the balloon to slowly deflate. Again, feeling with your hands that deflation. I want you to do this a few more times with that favorite color of balloon to your own breath speed. This balloon breath is a great way to help you transition into maybe a busy, chaotic part of your practice into the more chill part of the practice where we're going right now. And you can also use the balloon breath in your day, going to from a chaotic place if you want to come back into a more calm place. You can bring those hands out to the sides of your legs and bring them back together. We're going to bring the right knee into the chest, wrapping the hands around the shin. And you can leave the left leg bent, or maybe you want to walk it out long. Just allowing your back and shoulders to relax on the mat. So maybe your arms want to do a little less work holding your leg in. I inhale, I'm aware of my body. I exhale, I calm my body. If that left leg is long, you can slowly begin to bring it back to bend. You're going to move the right knee out to the side and place that right foot on the left knee, making a figure four. And think about moving your triangle leg away from your body. Checking in, and if you feel the stretch here, if this feels good for you, you're going to stay. If you feel that you have room to grow safely, you're going to begin to curl up your body and reach one hand between the center, one hand around the side, wrapping those hands around the thigh. And then you can release back to the mat, pulling your leg in a little bit more. So keeping in mind these options are all personal. Our goal in yoga is to feel sensation change in our body. So the goal is not the shape. The goal is the sensation change. And just being curious about that. How can you make the sensation feel a little bit more? How can you make it feel a little bit less? Can you change the sensation with a little bit of subtle movement? So what happens in this pose if you begin to rotate your ankle on your left foot? You begin to make circles there. Does it change anything in this pose from being static? And then let's roll the ankle the other way. Then release the thigh, bringing the foot down and crossing the right leg. We'll bring the left knee into the chest, hands around shins. Option to keep that right knee bent or to stretch it out down the mat. Checking in that your back and shoulders and head are resting on the ground. So maybe you're asking yourself, how can you do a little bit less work with those hands? And then slowly bringing the left foot back to bend. Right knee comes out to the side. Sorry, left knee comes out to the side and the foot comes on top. Taking a moment here to check in. And if you're feeling a stretch in your hip and your glute, you're going to stay. If you feel something in your knee, feel free to play around with sliding your leg into different positions until you don't feel anything in your knee. If you have room to grow, you begin to curl up and wrap those hands around your right thigh, and then coming back to the mat. Being curious about how that feels, where you feel this in your body. And then begin to rotate that ankle. Notice if that changes the static pose in any way. And also our ankles really help us with our balance, so we don't want to forget about them. Let's rotate the other way around. Then slowly bring the foot back to the mat and cross the legs. We're going to reach both feet down the mat, heels to the corners. Arms come alongside our body, back the palms on the mat or the ground. And perhaps you want to slightly tuck your chin into your chest to lengthen the back of your head, finding a resting spot. We've really stretched and strengthened today. A lot of shaky muscular work. So this time here in this pose is just a little bit of time to begin to allow your body to recover and restore from our practice. So let's take a deep inhale through the nose. Nice long inhale. And then release slowly through the mouth. Really slow, just like a leaky tire. How slow can you exhale? And let's try that one more time. Inhaling deep and big through the nose. And then slowly release through the mouth. Embrace that slow, leaky tire. Perhaps noticing your back body getting heavy on the mat. Taking up more space as it begins to settle down. If you have more time, I encourage you to really stay here. It is amazing what 5, 10, even 15 minutes in a rest pose after more active practice, what that can do for your body. It feels incredible. So if you have time, please feel free to stay. You don't have to move. But if you do need to get going today, I'm going to get you to wiggle those toes, wiggle those fingers, perhaps move the neck to one side, and then the other. Reaching those arms up overhead, great big noon hour stretch, fingertips to toes. Releasing. Plant one foot on the mat and the other foot on the mat. And slowly rolling over to your side body. Using that arm as a pillow. And take this moment here today to think of one thing today that you are grateful for. Just one thing. And then take the top hand, plant it into the ground. And let's slowly rise on up to a comfortable seat. Eyes can stay closed or you can gaze soft to the floor. And feel your spine grow tall. And just take a moment to check in with your body. Do that little scan from head to toe. And just notice how today's practice affected you. Do you feel a bit more open, stretched out, maybe a little shaky? Just notice that. Bring our hands to heart center. Tuck the chin. And let's end with a great big inhale. Exhale through the mouth, letting every piece of our practice go. Thank you so much for joining me this Thursday noon hour. I hope you all come back again. And feel free to put in the chat box or email Wellness during the week any suggestions you have for class. And we'll see you again.